Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Baltimore WordPress Meetup. Tonight we'll be talking about accessibility and doing quick little mini audits on a couple of websites so that you can actually see some of the things in practice. The Baltimore WordPress Meetup group is an informational group, so please use the information, products, and services that we show at your own risk. Just because we show a website, plugin, theme, etc., does not mean that it is an official WordPress endorsement of that. Of course, keep it family friendly, as many of us are attending from home. During the meetup, we will do our best to follow the WordPress Meetup community standards. This means that if you break the following rules, you will be removed from the meeting. No spamming or spammer-like behavior. We have people of all different skill levels and backgrounds, so no judgment for those who are at a different level than where you are at. And generally, don't be a jerk. I'm Jen. I'm a WordPress developer, and I've been building and managing WordPress sites for clients for over a decade. Over the years, I've built, remodeled, cleaned up, fixed, and added functionality to hundreds and hundreds of WordPress sites. And I organize the Baltimore WordPress Meetup. We will be using the Zoom chat during the meetup to help keep things organized. So please find your Zoom chat and open it up. Everyone starts out muted. So if you have specific questions, we might ask you if you'd like to unmute to get some further information about them. And now we are going to get started with accessibility. So in general, accessibility is about removing barriers. So it's not so much about trying to solve problems for people or trying to impose solutions on people, because everyone is different and we don't know what is going to be the best solution for a given person at a given time, because the answer is it varies. So what we try to do with website accessibility is just be aware of what kind of issues people have and don't create barriers to them. A very basic HTML website is already accessible. It's the choices that we make, adding plugins, adding functionality, trying to style things as we write content. That's what ends up making a website inaccessible. So I am going to drop a link into the chat. And this is from a blog post on the Justice Department, which is the US Justice Department's guidance regarding website accessibility and where to get started. So we are going to use this as a blueprint for getting started with some accessibility. But before we dive all the way in, I want to introduce Victoria Chan, who is co-hosting with me. And Victoria is blind, and she is going to tell you a little bit about her experience, just a couple minutes, and show you a quick demo of a screen reader on WordPress.org so that you can see how that looks. So Victoria, go ahead.
Okay, so all right, my name is Victoria and I am blind. The way I use the computer and I navigate the online space is that I do not use the mouse. Sorry, there's some construction going on outside my house. So anyway, so I strictly rely on my keyboard to navigate through the online space. And for me, instead of using the mouse, I use my arrow keys, and I also tab, and if I hear something that I want, I press enter. Now, sometimes I can have, when there's issues and stuff, like if a website is not formatted correctly and there are way too many pictures or it's in a table format, then that can be problematic. And like Jen said, a basic HTML website is accessible. It's when people start putting content and styling in a certain way, then that can be problematic. Anyway, I will share my screen and sound with you guys so you can actually see and hear how a blind person navigates through the online space. I guess we can get started with WordPress.com. So
.org if you could.
.org. Yeah, sorry. Okay, let me share my screen and sound first.
Screen sharing alert. You have started screen share. Press Windows M. Desktop. Folder view. List view. Outlook. A alert. Set up professional audio and quote audio settings. Quote press F6 to open. G. Google Chrome. Enter. R. W. D. L. P. R. E. W. S. S. Period. O. R. R. G. Enter. WordPress.org. Blog tool publishing platform and
Okay.
cmsn-wordpress.org. Page at blog tool publishing platform and cmsn-wordpress.org. Same page link. Skip the content. Visited link wordpress.org. Navigation region. List of 5 items. Link news. Link download and extend. Download and extend submenu button collapsed. Link learn. Learn submenu button collapsed. Link community. Community submenu button collapsed. Link about. About submenu button collapsed. List end. Navigation region end. Navigation region. Open search button menu. Navigation region end. Link get WordPress. Main region. Heading level 2 show your. Heading level 2 number WP20x blank with exclusive swag available now at link mercantile.wordpress.org blank. Heading level 1 WordPress : publish your passion blank. Create a place for your business, your interests, or anything else with the open source platform that powers the web. Blank. Link at WordPress. Alert. Eric Lutard has left the meeting. Blank. Heading level 2 dream it. Build it. Powerful and empowering. Link an illustration showing a grid of different type styles and color options with a cursor arrow making a selection. Blank. Style it your way. Blank. Design anything you imagine. Link themes. Design anything you imagine. Alert. My input and waiting. Link theme. Alert. Link patterns. Customize every detail from color and fonts to layouts and functionality. Blank. Plug in and extend. Blank. Make WordPress do whatever you need it to. Add a store, mailing list, portfolio, social feed, analytics, semicolon. You're in control with over 55,000.
Okay, Victoria, can you stop the screen reader?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's a good example of what the screen reader does and kind of how you experience it. So I just want to narrate a couple of
waiting room for this meeting.
Can you
Alert. Mine has joined the
stop
meeting.
sharing your audio for just a moment?
Okay, let me.
I can actually just
Screen sharing meeting control.
override your screen share, and then it'll.
Okay, I think I did.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
All right. So I am going to go in and do some of the sharing and show some of the things, especially with regard to what sighted people see. And then after that, I'll have Victoria go ahead and share her screen again, and she'll see how she can handle those same websites. So I've picked some pretty large websites that have significantly large user bases. And so let's see how these sites do for accessibility. So the first thing we're going to look at is, do they have an accessibility statement? And the purpose of one of these is to say basically how they handle accessibility and how to contact them if you have an accessibility issue. So typically, if they're going to have it, I will just do a search on the word accessibility. And as we can see, the first website that I'm showing, Bertha, does not. Let's try the next website. And it also does not. I didn't actually test all of these beforehand, but as we can see, these websites are very large companies and they do not have any accessibility statements. Well, this one actually had a few references to accessibility because that was in a podcast, but they still don't have an accessibility statement. So that's pretty much the very first thing that you start with to look at, and these websites have all already missed that. So the next thing that we look at is, are these websites readable? Are the fonts and colors that they have chosen, are they actually readable? So the guidelines don't actually tell us what a legible font is, but basically it means that if you can clearly distinguish different letters from each other, then it's a legible font. So in this case, we're going to look for colors and font choices to just see how clear or unclear things are. And while we're looking through these pages, we're also going to quickly look at text styling to see if text is styled appropriately. So this is about, does the website meet expectations? Can I clearly see what is a link? What is not a link? Can I clearly read everything? It's about meeting expectations. So one of the expectations that users have is that when I hover over a button, something happens. I see a reaction. In this case, I'm hovering over some buttons and I'm not getting reactions. So this is, and here, this is actually, I'm hovering over it. The browser is telling me that this is a link at the very bottom, but there's no visual indication. There's no reaction telling me that this is in fact a link. So here's some purple text. Some websites will use a different color to represent their links, but apparently this is not. Again, this looks like it might be a link, but it's not. The fonts overall are pretty easy to read. Oh, we have underlined text. I assume as a user that all underlined text should be clickable. The internet has trained us for literally decades at this point that if I see underlined text, I can click on it, but there's no clicking. This time, text was colored and underlined, but it was clickable. So in this case, the inconsistency is confusing to me. And here we can see that some of this line spacing here is very tight. So the words are squished together a bit. And then down here at the bottom, this text is a bit light and difficult to read. And while this text down here does technically pass color contrast, because it is such a thin font, how it's rendered, the actual rendered font color isn't the same as the coded font color. So while technically it would pass an automated test, it won't pass a human test because the rendered color is actually much lighter or darker in this case than the other. So let's go over here to this next website, Patchstack. So the first thing that I notice is that this is not readable. Over here, you can see on the right, the word WordPress and the year 2022 are over a very light background and they're light text, and I just can't read it. Then coming down here, again, looking for, does this meet expectations? And here it is showing, okay, links are underlined. This is good. But here we're seeing that these are actually links. Now, that's a little confusing. So that is a link. It has an icon that shows open in a new window. And this icon that shows open in a new window is really light. So that actually wouldn't pass contrast. So as the page continues, again, we have relatively light and contrast difficulties. The colors are also a bit challenging on the eyes. Neon colors are just a little bit painful on trying to use them. Here we have text that's a different color and it suddenly appeared as a different color. So I would expect that that might be a link, but it's not. Here is some extremely tiny text. Generally speaking, for accessibility, they don't recommend anything under 16 pixels. And try not to use stuff under 14 pixels, and this is probably about 10. So here, at least we do have the consistency that links are underlined. I'm going to move on to the next one. So this one here, we do have pretty good contrast. Here, this actually becomes a link, but there is literally no hover effect. And again, it's my expectation, having used the internet for years and years, that if something is clickable, when I hover on it, I should be able to interact with it. I should see something happen. But there is literally no change at all for hover. The pointer changing, as Greg pointed out, is technically an indication, but the expectation is that this would have much more of a change. If we look at most other websites, there is significantly more change. Even on this one, they've got a little bit of a change on this button, but no change on the other. So that's an inconsistency issue. Here, these links do darken when I hover on them. So that meets expectations. The arrow moving is, I would say it's not quite sufficient to indicate it, because I could easily miss that tiny movement. Someone with poor vision, someone who's farsighted, they would not notice that little tiny bit of movement. It's next page. Here we are seeing significant change for the buttons. And this is much more what I expect a website to do. I expect to see a bit of change. As I go through, I see a lot of change. It tells me what is clickable. This is a kind of dark purple on black and tiny text that is really not readable. I mean, I have 20/20 vision and I'm on a 5K retina and it's difficult for me to read. So someone on less of a screen or with less vision would have a lot of challenge with that. Here, the buttons are acting as I would expect. Here, I do have a reaction when I hover. I do like this. This is kind of nice. It kind of hovers and tells me which one I'm on. I would probably go a little bit further on the hover. This site is atrocious. That's why I picked it, is because it is, if you thought, you know, yellow text on a white background was bad, yellow text on a bright orange background is worse. Again, there's no reaction when I hover. Very tiny reaction, no reaction. Again, no reaction. Again, these are expectations. Accessibility is a lot about meeting people's expectations and not failing them. So again, we have things that should be interactive, but there is no reaction. And again, we have this terrible, terrible bright yellow on bright orange text. Mark asked the group, would I check sites on different devices? Typically, I will just check on one device. So my normal strategy with accessibility is look for the issues on desktop, because if they're on desktop, they are most likely absolutely everywhere, and start with the big issues. Does this site have an accessibility statement? Does it meet basic expectations of being readable, of having obvious interactions? And then once that, if we get through quite a ways, then we'll get to checking on other devices. So here we are on the next website, WP Builds. So these buttons do react, which is nice, although their colors, the white text on bright blue does not pass contrast. This would be pretty much impossible to read outside on a bright day. Very bright text. It does indicate the hover, which is nice, although these images are clickable, but they are not indicating any kind of hover state. I would kind of expect in a section like this, where it discusses 5 things and has large icons, I would expect them to be clickable. So this doesn't really meet expectations in that sense. Here on this banner, the words are literally covered by this icon. So it's illegible. So that doesn't meet expectations. Here we have links that are a different color, but do basically the exact same thing as the links higher up. So that is an inconsistency which can confuse people, especially people with neurological issues, headaches, tired from a long week, had a couple drinks, etc. And then here in the footer, all of this doesn't meet contrast, and good luck reading this outside on a bright day or if you have lower vision. So once we kind of did the basic colors, one of the next things I like to check is, does a website zoom decently? So people who have lower vision like to zoom their websites frequently. So let's just try zooming. This one's zooming pretty decently. Let's try this one. Okay, that went very poorly. So that website's not zooming well. Let's try this one. All right, it's zooming okay. We'll see how this site does. It's doing okay. We'll try zooming this one. And it's doing all right on Zoom. And this site's doing okay on Zoom. So one of the next things I will do is in my browser settings, if I can find them, settings, I am going to change my font size. So here I am in my browser settings, and what some people like to do if they have poor vision is to change the text to really big. So here we are, we have very large text. As you can see, the browser settings have updated. And so let's see how websites are looking. This one doesn't appear to have done much. This one hasn't done anything. Did I? No. Okay, so this site actually has increased and made the text all larger. So it's respecting my browser settings. Nothing here and nothing here. And here you can see on my article, it's respecting the browser settings. So I'm going to set them back to standard. And of course, I lost my spot in the article with that. So now we've kind of done just some of the basics. And so now I'm going to quick do a test. We're going to skip image alt for the moment. And we're going to take a look at keyboard navigation. So keyboard navigation is used by people who use screen readers, such as Victoria, and it's also used by people who have motor issues and aren't using mice. And it's used by some people who are power users and just don't like getting anywhere near a mouse. So what we look for is, the first thing we should see is a skip to content button. What that does is it allows us to completely bypass the main menu if we want to just get right to the article without going through a big long menu. So in this case, I'm going to go through the menu. But here's some issues. So when the pricing gets highlighted, it becomes this purple on a dark purple background, which is very difficult to read. The next thing I should see is, so this is acting as a button. Button opens with a space bar. And it should also close with a space bar. It does not close with a space bar. So I will use tab, and apparently tab is how you get it through that. Overall, it is showing me where links are, although these buttons are not highlighted a lot. So if someone has poor vision and they are using a keyboard navigation, it's very possible that they would completely miss this very minor focus state. Greg put in the chat that yes, this heading text here is in fact a link. So here we have a link which is a play key, and it is very tiny and difficult to notice and see. Oh, Greg wanted us to go look at Bertha's blog. So this is a blog. This is a link as well as a menu. So if I hit return on it, it will take us to the blog. And here we have a issue because the blog is highlighted, and that is a purple on black, which is very difficult to read. So now I'll go to the next site. So I'm going to go to the start in the, here we are. We didn't get a skip to content link, but there is basically no header on this page. So if there's only one, maybe two links, then it's okay. This is I have no idea what visit website means. Contextually, I don't really see anything obvious that tells me what visit website means. It's just kind of some random text, and I don't know what it means. So here it's taking me through, it's showing me the links. All right. So I'm going through, it's going through the links pretty well. It's highlighting things decently. I'm going to go on to the next page. So if I go to the address bar and I hit tab, I should be taken to the top of the page, which I'm not. Also, that just opened a link in a new window without giving me a new window warning to tell me that it was opening a link. So this page is doing absolutely terrible on keyboard navigation. It's not highlighting anything. It's not telling me any context about where I'm at. So we're just going to leave that page, move on to Kinsta. So here we're getting a skip to content link. Yes, it is Princess Allen asked. I put my cursor, so I have clicked with my mouse or my pointing device, since it's actually a trackpad, and I have put it into the address bar, so it's blinking in the address bar, and then on the keyboard I hit tab. That gives me the very first link on the page, which should be a skip to content page or skip to content link. And I do want to actually navigate the menu to see how the menu is. So I won't use that. I will just click tab to move to the next item. So this gives me a banner notifying me that I could get a try risk free. My expectation is the next item will be that X, which would close the banner. I have absolutely no idea where my tab key just went. Nothing is highlighted. There's no URL showing at the bottom of my screen. I'm going to hit it again, and it does take me to the Kinsta logo. I have no idea where the previous one was. There was no visual indication to tell me. So here I have a drop-down menu. I only hit tab. I didn't tell it to open this drop-down menu, but it decided to open it for me. It's now making me go through the whole drop-down menu with the tab key. I could also go through it previously using Shift Tab. Okay, but I can't really get out of these. I can't close these submenus. The only way to get through them is to literally tab through them. So that's a very unpleasant experience. My search opened. So it is showing me pretty decently. It's using an outline. This is actually using a double outline. I'm not sure if you can tell, but when I go to it, there is both a blue and a white outline. And that double outline means that on virtually any background, you'll see two things outlined. Oh, these are apparently links. I thought they were an image. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one. So it shows me I don't have a skip to content. That's missing. I can't even open these drop-down menus. So that's completely unusable. We'll just go ahead and move on. So this on the first tab has taken me to I have absolutely no idea where. And the second tab, oh, apparently. All right, I've gone back to the search bar, address bar, hit tab. It apparently is skipping the entire main menu and going straight to the email opt-in. Now it is going up to a skip to content. So that is a bit non-intuitive as it is moving down the page and then suddenly back up the page. Goes through social media. So here we have an option to open and close, which is nice. So here I can open the submenu and I can close the submenu, which is a much nicer navigation experience. Now, here's a search. I can get out of that search by hitting escape. Mark asked a question. So it is possible on a form to set something called tab index. And so by setting tab indexes, you can get things to kind of jump around and tab through a website in what might be a non-logical order. And it's a form option available called tab index. So speaking of forms, so once I've entered some content here, I have no label or any other visual indicator to tell me what this, what I just entered. So we'll see if it gives an error message. So it does. Says, please include an @ in it, and then it vanished before I could finish reading it. So that's a non-ideal form. Let's see if any, I don't even remember if any of these others have a form on them or not. Let's try contact sales. There we go. Here's a form. So here is a pretty poor form because again, once I have entered some contact information, I have no idea what these fields are. They no longer tell me anything about the field. It's only in the placeholder text. So they should have a visible field label so that we can actually see what they are. So I think I'm going to finish up my part of the quick audit now, and I'm going to go ahead and let Victoria take over and show you some of those sites and what she thinks of them and her experience with them.
Okay.
Just let me know if you need anything from me, Victoria.
All right. So do you need me to share the screen again?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Windows M,
All
desktop,
right.
O, folder, alert, set up professional audio and quote
whoops.
audios, escape.
Okay, let me
Link
go
https
to.
link h link
Let me go
https
to
colon
this
slash
first
slash
one.
bertha.is enter.
The Bertha
Untitled
dot.
dash Google Chrome. Page has 3 regions. Bertha AI Chat GPT alternative dash Bertha AI. Same page visited link Bertha. Blank navigation region. List of same page link current page pricing. Link collapse menu Bertha's blog.
So
Link
can you open that
menu.
Bertha's blog?
Bertha's blog.
Yeah, that submenu.
Enter navigation region. Bertha's blog.
Yep.
Expanded menu link. Find out the latest news and views from Bertha AI. Expanded menu. Group start Bertha's blog. Link about us. Group end. Link login. Link start now for free. Link terms of service. List end. Navigation region end. Main region. The content on this page was created with Bertha. Shocked face with exploding head graphic. Blank. Heading level 1 link. Invest in the power of AI to create compelling copy with Bertha. Download the free WordPress plugin button. Download the free Chrome extension button. Blank. Heading level 2. Bertha enjoys working with WordPress and in Chrome. Did you know AI will create over 97 million new jobs over the next 3 years? Source: Statista. Graphic. Play video about Did you know AI will create over 97 million new jobs over the next 3 years? Source: Statista. Button.
Okay, I'm gonna play the video to see if that works.
Okay.
Enter. Main region. Play video about Did you know AI will create blank. Play video about Heading level 2. Creating a heading level 4. Craft webs blank. RAI blank. Heading level 4. Creating blank.
So what's going on here is the
The
video
the
has
play button
opened.
doesn't.
Well,
Yeah.
let me tell you, because you can't really see it. So what's happened is a lightbox window has been opened by JavaScript to display the YouTube video in the lightbox. Unfortunately, the focus that from the screen reader wasn't moved to the lightbox. So now there's basically a lightbox overlaying your page that you can't even access.
Right.
So let's just go ahead to the next one. I can, if you just want, I can just, you can pop over maybe to just Kinsta and I can just spell that out for you and you can just
Okay.
type it into the URL bar.
F4. Read Alt
Okay.
F4. List view. Global accessibility awareness state. Alt F4. Inbox dash Chan 9. Alt F4. JAWS home use. Windows M. Desktop G. Google Enter.
Okay.
Control L.
Yeah,
Toolbar. Address and
go
search bar
ahead
edit.
and spell.
Type in text. Control plus L. Computer braille. About K I N
KINSTA.com.
Period. COM. Enter. Kinsta.com. Kinsta registered cloud hosting dash all your projects in one platform. Page has Kinsta registered cloud hosting dash all your projects in one platform. Page say link boost your WordPress site speed by 20% simply by migrating to Kinsta. Try risk dash free. Dismiss banner button. Visited link Kinsta registered. Main menu navigation region. List of 7 applications button collapsed. Databases button collapsed. WordPress button collapsed. Link docs. Link log. Link pricing. Contact button collapsed. List end. Main menu navigation region at search. Link login. Link sign up. Main region article. Heading level 1. Your new home for modern web apps and sites. Blank. Kinsta is a cloud platform designed to help companies and dev teams ship and manage their web projects faster and more efficiently. Blank. Link deploy an app. Link create a WordPress site. Watch demo button.
Okay, I'm
So
gonna.
let's try, this
Enter.
one.
Watch demo button to activate. Press spacebar. From Flurn. From Twimbit. From Black. From Revia Signal. From Flurn. From Kinsta registered cloud hosting dash all your projects in one platform.
All right, so the question is, can you dismiss this lightbox? If you hit escape, does anything happen? Ah, there we go. So
Alert.
escape
Red wide
is
everyone
normally
pulling back.
the go-to to
Kinsta
close
registered
a
cloud.
lightbox pop-up or a modal window.
Right.
But they didn't really move the focus into that modal window, so you didn't have like the video controls that you could play or pause or fast forward or rewind.
Right.
All right. You want to go ahead and go to the next website if you can go to your address bar on the browser.
Home use. Windows
I'll
M.
just read the website URL to you.
Enter.
Okay.
Control L.
Yeah.
Toolbar. Address and search bar edit. Nib.com.
WPX.net.
Period. NET. Enter. WPX.net.
So this one is probably going to be bad.
11 headings and 39 links.
Okay.
Page at world's fastest managed WordPress hosting. Vertical bar. WPX hosting. Visited link graphic / list of 4 items. Link pricing. Link about.
So can you open any of those sublinks?
About. Link pricing.
Yeah,
List
you
of 4
can.
items. Link about. Enter. Banner region. About. Link. Link.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and move on from that.
Alt F4. JAWS home use. Windows M. Desktop. Enter.
Yeah, that's how well that one. All right, this next
Page
URL.
9 regions. Control L. Toolbar. Address and search bar edit. Type in text. And WPX.net.
Build.
BUILD.
S.
S.
.com.
Period. COM. Enter nib.co/n region equals on builds.com WP builds WordPress network dash W same page link Facebook link Twitter link YouTube link RSS link Mastodon visited link WP builds WordPress podcast header menu navigation region subscribe menu live menu archives menu expand drop down menu sub menu collapse menu
Yeah,
field
try
menu
expanding it, see if that
expand
works.
drop enter menu collapse drop
Oh,
down
good.
menu 4 of 9
You
to move
close it?
through items press up or down WP build this week in WordPress. Escape. Leaving menus. WP build.
Eh,
Yes, these are the challenges that you regularly face.
right. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of menus.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
I understand why.
I
So
would
what-
prefer to have each individual link.
So more just a navigation that is just a row of single links, and then
Mhm.
when you go to that page, you would then be given maybe another row of just single links rather than
Exactly.
trying to deal with those big mega menus.
Exactly.
You probably mostly hate mega menus.
Right. And drop down menus too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
also anything in table format is problematic.
Many tables are very poorly coded.
Right.
So does it work when a table is well coded?
I mean, personally, I don't like it because it doesn't flow.
Mm-hmm.
Like when
just
I'm reading
Difficult to
it's-
understand.
Exactly, yes.
So do you like it when let
I
me just
prefer in paragraph format.
Alert from
When
Greg
it's
Y to
in-
everyone : does she mean quote table format quote as in not table content laid out in a table or actual table content?
So
so-
I prefer each individual row. I prefer it in list format.
Yeah, so some websites do like a pricing table, but instead of it
Right.
being a table, it's a div, and they say, this is the light plan, here's what's included, and it's
Yeah.
just a long bulleted list saying everything that's included in the light plan.
Right.
And then separately it goes on and talks about, the medium plan or the extra special plan and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have a ton of extra time, but I did want to open up the questions for if anyone had any questions they wanted to drop in.
Muse.
I'm gonna just
You
turn
still
off
need
your
me to
s-
share my okay.
No, I don't need you to.
Sharing me alert.
There you go. So if
Okay.
anyone wants to toss into the chat any questions, if you would like to just speak your question, just just put a question mark in the chat and I can select you to unmute. Or if you can figure out how to use the Zoom hand raise, you can do that too. So I usually give people about a minute or so to decide if they want to, open up their chat and put a question mark in or not. But while we're waiting to see if anyone wants to do that, is there anything else that just drives you nuts when you're trying to navigate a website?
It's when sometimes they'll ask you to drag and drop and stuff like that. And also if the button's not working and I can't press enter to play like we saw earlier,
Yes.
then that's not good.
Yes.
And then also I hate CAPTCHAs because a lot of the times the sound is really bad.
I can tell you the visuals are really, really bad too. Sometimes I'm looking at them and I'm like, okay, I just zoomed my screen and I still have no idea what this picture is.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we will go ahead and wrap the meeting. I just want to thank you so much, Victoria, for joining us, and hopefully this was educational to everyone. And our next meetup is actually a co-meetup with the WordPress accessibility group. It will be on June 1st, and it's actually a daytime meetup because that's when they run their meetups. So I'm pretty sure it's at 11 a.m., but I will double check and I will send out a link afterwards with, when that is. So thank you so much, Victoria.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.